Good morning, and thank you for joining us early this morning. It's my privilege to introduce to you Lieutenant General Ken Keane. As most of you know, the Deputy Commander for U.S. Southern Command, and I guess now former, as of yesterday, the Joint Task Force Haiti Commander of Joint Task Force Haiti for Operation Unified Response. General Keane served as the Task Force Commander in Haiti since the 12th of January. And he left yesterday after changing command with General Simeon Trombitas. I hope I said that correctly. General Keane's going to give you a brief update on the operations there and then take some of your questions. So again, General, thank you for coming to Washington and spending a little time with us here.
Thank you. Thank you, Brian. Good morning. Well, I think I'd like to first start by saying I want to express my appreciation for the American people and all the families of our servicemen and women who have served in Haiti and are currently serving in Haiti. The tremendous amount of support by all Americans. I saw it every day on the streets in Haiti in the form of civilians who were working for non-government organizations to obviously those who work in our own U.S. government interagency and our militaries there. They truly are the soldiers of humanitarian assistance, the non-government organizations, the civilians who are really working day in and day out to help the Haitian people as they recover from this tremendous catastrophe. As Brian mentioned, yesterday I turned over command to Major General Sim Trombitas, who also is the commander of U.S. Army South, the Army Component Command of U.S. Southern Command. I think that was quite appropriate. He has been performing the duties as the deputy of the Joint Task Force since early March. This is yet another step in the military transition as we move forward. So I think with that, I'll just leave it at that and go straight into questions, provide most of our time to address the particular issues. Yes, ma'am.
Could you provide us a snapshot of the U.S. commitment at this point, the military commitment in Haiti? How many troops are there, and how does that compare to whenever its peak was? I believe it was at 10,000 or something like that. Could you give us some background?
Okay. When I left yesterday, we had right at 2,200 troops deployed in Haiti. At the peak, on or about 1 February, we had 22,000, and that included about 58 aircraft and 15 ships. Now, most of those troops at the height were on ships. We had the aircraft carrier, of course, USS Carl Vinson. So at the peak, we probably only had around 7,000 troops in Haiti. Today, of course, as I mentioned, 2,200. We have 4 aircraft, and we have no U.S. naval ships, although we have some landing craft from the U.S. Army that are still supporting us there. So that gives you a little perspective from where we've been to where we are today.
Just to clarify, you said 7,000 troops were in Haiti at the peak. You mean on the ground?
On the ground versus on ships. At the height, as I mentioned, we had about 15 ships. That included the USS Carl Vinson aircraft carrier. It included the USS Nassau with the 24th Marine Expeditionary Unit. It included the USS Baton, which included the 22nd Marine Expeditionary Unit, included a brigade from the 82nd, which was on the ground. So many of those troops, of course, being sailors and Marines, were on the ships in support of our forces, but may have been going back and forth. And many of the aircraft, in fact, all the aircraft initially were Marine or naval air that was coming off the ship. So the crews and the support air that supported those were on the ships. Yes, ma'am.
General, can you give us a sense of how much longer those troops are going to stay in Haiti, and what is exactly their current mission? And if I may ask a second question, can you give us an assessment on, of the security on the ground right now in Port-au-Prince?
Well, the current mission remains what it was when we got there, and that is really focused on saving lives and mitigating suffering. Obviously, the priorities of what we were doing in support of the lead federal agency, United States Agency for International Development, has changed over time. Today, we are really, our priority is focused on how do we mitigate the effects of the coming rains. In fact, we're already in the rainy season. And how do we prepare the populations, the displaced persons, upwards of 1 million people in Port-au-Prince and the surrounding areas that are living in various states and encampments to prepare for these. We've focused recently on moving those populations, working with, again, the non-government organizations, the UN and others, on getting them out of harm's way, because many of them are in low-lying areas, and that is well underway. We've mitigated the effects of the potential rains on some of these camps that are in most vulnerable areas, and actually have moved over 2,000 displaced persons out of some of these camps that were at high risk into other settlements that have been established by the international community, the humanitarian community, NGOs, as well as United Nations. The security situation still remains calm, as it's been, fortunately, since the early days. While there's been isolated incidents of violence, if you will, it has not been to the degree that has impacted at all on our ability to provide humanitarian assistance. We've been very fortunate in that when the earthquake occurred, of course, we had the United Nations stabilization mission there. We had nearly 8,000 UN troops there, led by the Brazilian Major General Floriano Peixoto, who recently turned over command to another Brazilian general, Major General Paul Cruz. We operated within the envelope of a safe and secure environment due to the those forces that were there at the time, and have continued to do that. So we've been able, we being the U.S. military and the Joint Task Force, have been able to focus our efforts on humanitarian assistance and, of course, security tasks that were associated with doing just that.
And, I'm sorry, but how much longer do you think those U.S. troops are going to remain in Haiti?
Well, as I mentioned, we're in a transition phase. We started transitioning the size of our military forces, as I have said before, dialing it back or dialing it up based upon the conditions on the ground. And we have done that since February with the departure of the aircraft carrier. We continue to do that today. I expect us to, on or about 1 June, to be able to stand down the Joint Task Force. We will be able to do that because of the capability that's being built up and has built up by civilian organizations, whether it be USAID's increasing capacity, but more so the increasing capacity of non-government organizations that are really running much of the humanitarian assistance efforts within the country, to include these displaced person camps that I mentioned. They're being run and supported by NGOs under the United Nations Office of Humanitarian Coordination. So as they build up that capacity and get into more of a recovery and reconstruction phase, the need for our military diminishes. So we are adjusting the size of our military accordingly, and I anticipate us being able to close down the Joint Task Force. That does not mean that U.S. Southern Command will not continue to have an enduring military presence in Haiti. I was in Haiti on the day of the earthquake. I was there working with the U.S. Embassy on some security cooperation engagement that we were going to have later this year, medical readiness exercises, humanitarian assistant construction projects like building classrooms for schools, and also emergency operations centers, and talking to them about how to prepare for natural disasters. That will continue. In fact, later this month, we are going to have the beginning of a robust New Horizons exercise, we call it, led by the Louisiana National Guard, that will continue through the month of September, that will have over $2 million worth of projects focused on some of these engagement activities. And of course, We will continue with a presence there through that period of time. After 1 June, I suspect to be around 500 within that task force that will be doing those type of engagements that, by the way, have been coordinated very closely with the United Nations and the USAID to fit within the post-earthquake requirements and what is needed.
So just to clarify, you're at 2,200 now, and on June 1, the headquarters disappears. So what does that mean for the troop levels? And you mentioned the 500. Does that mean the troops go down to that number?
The troops that are part of the Joint Task Force Haiti would also redeploy, and that would include some engineering forces we have there now. That would include, on 1 May, I expect a battalion of the 82nd that's there right now for them to redeploy in accordance with our current plan, and we have some other units there. So that the troops that are part of the Joint Task Force would redeploy. I mentioned this New Horizons Joint Task Force of about 500 troops. They will come in prior to the redeployment or the standing down of a Joint Task Force doing those activities I mentioned. So there will be a period of overlap as the Joint Task Force leaves and this New Horizons comes in, focus on different requirements and support. Yes, sir.
General, could you step back a minute from your strictly military role and give us your sense of how things are in Haiti now and what needs to be done next? And I mean, you've been there a lot. You know, give us a sense of where things are going to go in the next year, say.
Well, I wish I had a crystal ball to provide clarity to your question and answer it. I think there's a unique opportunity in Haiti today that did not exist before the earthquake. Clearly, the light of the world is shining on Haiti for the obvious needs. The world has responded significantly to avert a tremendous catastrophe. There were no food crises. There were no loss of life due to shortage of potable water. Clearly, while over 230,000 people died, many were saved. Thousands were saved because of the tremendous response medically, not just on our military and other militaries, but the international community, NGOs, as I mentioned. I think as before the earthquake, Haiti, being the poorest nation in the Western Hemisphere, had tremendous challenges from poverty to education to infrastructure. Clearly, all of those need to be addressed as the government of Haiti develops its long-range vision, and as had been articulated at the donors conference and talked about in terms of where does Haiti need to go to the future and how do they build back Haiti better using, I think, what former President Clinton, Secretary Clinton have stated is certainly a vision of the government and others who are looking to support the country there. As I left Haiti, I saw lots of hope as I walked around the streets, particularly when you look in the faces of the children, the smiles on their faces, the gratitude that they have, certainly from our military's presence there, but the presence of the international community there. But the proof of the ability to realize their hopes is going to be in how you're able to apply all of these donor nations' contributions and how they're able to build a strategic plan, and then how the government is able to lead forward, because this is about Haitians leading Haitians. So whatever plan is built would need to be a Haitian plan. And I know that the government is working very hard with the international community on just that. I had the opportunity to meet with President Preval and Ambassador Merton, our ambassador to Haiti, as recently as Thursday afternoon, and they talked about that very issue, and also had an opportunity to spend some time with the Prime Minister on Friday talking about that very issue, about the various commissions that are being set up and how they move forward.